triumph at last. The 4,000 passengers stuck on the Carnival cruise ship finally on dry land after being marooned in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico for 4 days. To get an idea of what it was like, take a listen to some of their reactions.
Every time the boat listed or leaned, the sewage would spill over.
And so it just got really, really filthy, really smelly, and really bad.
It was disgusting. We tried not to eat.
It wasn't a vacation anymore. It was like survival mode.
Oh, after hearing that, would you ever consider taking a cruise again? And how can Carnival possibly salvage their brand after this? Joining me now is marketing guru and executive creative director of Turkel Brands, Bruce Turkel. Bruce, how would you save this company?
Well, I think there's a little bit of hyperbole going on here. This is not going to be a problem. This is a blip.
Bruce, you're crazy.
No one's going to remember this a week from now.
A week from now? No one's going to remember this a week from now? Bruce, you're crazy.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows ship happens, and it's just not going to be an issue.
Bruce.
The only reason we're paying attention is because of those interviews you just saw with the sewage and all of that. Nobody died. Nobody got hurt. It's unfortunate. Carnival's doing a lot of things to make up for it. It's not an issue.
Oh,
it's
Bruce,
over.
it's the damn media's fault again. Yes, of course. But wait, I got to tell you, okay, this is the reality of the situation. I'm not even joking around. My family's trying to convince me we're going to all go on a great cruise together, a Disney cruise or something with all the kids. It's going to be great. This was over Christmas. And half of the group said, you know, every time you hear about a cruise, they're stuck at sea. They have the neurovirus. They've run out of food. You know, there's germs everywhere. There's always a problem. They get stuck at sea, this and that and the other thing. We all sat there. We argued about it. And I said, watch. You know, we're going to hear about it again. Sure enough, here we go. I mean, it's not that it's this one time. It's that we're always hearing stories like this.
Look at the number of people that cruise. Look at the number of ships that go out there. And the 3,000, 143 passengers on this ship? I mean, too bad for them, and I do feel for them, but it's insignificant compared to the number of people who cruise.
It's
if you believe that sort of thing, then why do you get in a car? I mean, the rate, you know, the car.
Because I have to go somewhere in order to get to work. I have to get in a car to get around. I don't have to get on a cruise ship. I mean, my response was, why don't we just go to Disney and see Mickey there? I don't need to be trapped on a ship with them. I don't have to go on a cruise. Also,
how many times do we talk about it? You might not be the market. Plenty of people say, I'm not going to cruise because I'm going to be bored, nothing for me to do. But lots of people like it. And this happened, and it's too bad, and Carnival is doing all kinds of reparations. Could they have done some things better? Of course, they can always do things better. However, it's not going to matter. I promise you.
Yeah, I think you're crazy, but I still want to know, so if you were in charge of their marketing campaign from here, what would you do? Give me step 1, 2, and 3 to turn this around.
Okay, step 1, you need to have a plan in place. I know they have disaster plans. Again, nothing horrible happened. The crew worked very hard to make it as good as possible, as good as possible for the people on the ship. But there's a couple things they can do. Listen, onion sandwiches, if you like onions, aren't so terrible. But here's the point. If you looked at the interviews, a lot of people said the worst thing was they couldn't communicate. They couldn't talk to their families. So why not have iridium phones, satellite phones on the ship so people can communicate? So you could call home and say, look, we're okay. We're kind of bored. It's a little stinky, but we're okay. Then we have to talk about the emotional benefits of cruising, which you already mentioned. Being together with your family, spending time together, the smiles, the hugs, the opportunities. And by the way, cruising is right in the sweet spot of what most American tourists want. I mean, we've had clients selling this. We've worked for a lot of cruise companies, and it's so clear. People don't want to unpack. They want to go to exotic destinations, but they want all the comforts of home. And this trip accepted, that's what they get. I would continue to reinforce those things. I wouldn't mention this issue again at all.
My home doesn't look anything like that. Yeah. Wait, okay, so I'm sorry. I just can't help it. But let me ask you before we go, on a scale of 1 to money, how unmoney, so a scale of 1 to unmoney, how unmoney is this for their image?
1 being the best, 5 being the worst. I would say, as I told you, I think it's a blip, so I think it's a 2.
Wow.
Yes, they could grasp defeat out of the jaws of victory. The ship could hit the fan again, but I think it's a 2. It's over, Melissa. It's a blip. Forget about it.
couldn't drag me on a cruise ship if my life depended on it. But Bruce, thank you for coming on. That was fun. Have a great weekend. So here's
see you.
our
Bye-bye.
money question.